Okay. Does everybody understand the prompt? I gonna I
Sort of.
I gonna put that sample input already got. This is sample input, right? Sample input. Um. Then sample output is true. Okay. Which one is your cursor? Hour is yellow or purple?
Um,
Okay. Can you go to the notes and walk us through the problem? Then like here line 22. Then
okay.
yeah. Then do the code.
Okay, so you may put my notes here? Or?
Just walk however you're gonna walk through the problem like last time we did.
Okay. Okay, yeah. All right.
Yeah,
So let me take a look at this.
yeah,
Okay. So from my understanding, the main idea is
yeah,
we want to compare the numbers in the sequence to the array, and if those numbers in the sequence are in the array, and if they're in the same order as the ones in the sequence, then it's true. If that's not the case, then it returns false. Okay, so I guess it seems that the first thing we would want to do uh, is initialize two starting pointers that start for one pointer that points at the beginning of the sequence and another pointer that points or that starts at the beginning of the array. So
yeah.
great.
You don't need the comments. This is not HTML. You can
Oh,
just
okay.
what?
Okay.
Yeah. This is .md. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm so used to
I
doing that.
don't really
What am I?
understand
Okay, you
the
can ask
prompt.
a question because we only have 4 people today.
Okay.
What were you saying?
Oh, so Srikar, you say you didn't understand the problem?
Yeah, I didn't really understand the problem.
Okay, so let's look at this here. So this is the let's look at the example. So we have the array, right? Five,
Yeah.
fifth, and then we have the sequence, right? So
Can you tell us which line are you at?
I'm right here.
Okay.
So the idea is that we want to make sure that all these numbers in the sequence are in the array, and not only that, we want to make sure that numbers that appear in order of the sequence appear in the same order as the array. So let's say we have 1, 6, -1, and 10, right?
Mm.
So the idea is when we iterate through the array, we want to make sure that we find, for example, all four of these numbers in the main array. And not only that, we want to make sure that they follow the same order as the numbers that we find in the sequence. But they don't necessarily have to be adjacent. So in this case, we have 1, 6, -1, and 10, right? So we have 1, we have 1 over here, we
Oh,
have 6, we have
okay,
6 over
okay.
here,
Do you
-1, -1.
understand what adjacent means?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
sorry. Okay.
Yeah,
So
okay, okay. So
yeah, that's
basically,
all we're it seems that that's all we're trying to find. And again, they don't have to be next to each other, as I said. So
okay, so basically what we're trying to find is like, so if we iterate, when we're iterating through this array, we have to make sure that these numbers come in order.
correct, yeah, yeah,
Okay. Oh,
yeah, in order, yeah, in this main array, yeah.
oh.
Okay, all right. So yeah, so I
Can
guess
you walk through the pointer system for us? Our
so you want me to write my notes here, or do you want me to
you
like?
you know like how you, for example, how you like compare each number, the point system.
Okay, yeah.
And
So
then highlight it like this. Yeah.
for each how do I say for each array. So yeah, sorry. Let me just say two starting pointers. Starting pointers, I'd say at index 0, which is starting pointer. So starting pointer meaning like we have one pointer that starts at the beginning or I mean at the starting value of the sequence. So that's, and then I have another starting value that starts at the first value of the array. So I can demonstrate here. So let's say, I don't know, I'm just going to say array. Um, then sequence. All right. So the idea is, yeah, we want to, because I think from what we want to do with these pointers is we want to iterate through each of them and make sure that we find every value in the sequence is in the array at the same order as the sequence that we have here. So I guess the way I would do this is, and then once we have starting point, what we can do
Can you
is,
tell us what is your first step?
yeah. Okay. So I guess iterate. Uh, all right. Yeah. I iterate through each value in the array. So when I say the array, I mean this array right here. So
Okay.
and and compare each value in array to value in sequence.
So we compare each value in this array with each value this array with same index order, right?
Yeah, same index order, right?
Okay.
So, and then, yeah, let me see. Yeah, just give me a minute just to make sure I'm thinking this correctly.
Yeah.
So 5 and 1. Oh, okay. All right. So, all right. Yeah, I think I understand. All right. So, array, and so the value of the sequence is equal to value in the array. So if that was the case, let's see that we want to increment the sequence IDX, and then yeah, just yeah. So yeah, if so, let's say we have 5 1, or I'm sorry, 1 1. If they're equal, then that says, okay, so far we have one value that we found in the array. So you want to check this value and then move increment to this value 6. And
Can you highlight like this? Because you can do this. So for
oh yeah,
example,
sure, yeah,
yeah,
sure.
yeah, do this.
All
Yeah,
right.
I'll help you.
So okay,
Yeah.
so I guess what I was trying to say was,
Yeah.
we're checking the first condition, say that if the value if the first value in the sequence is equal, I mean, let's say to the value in the array, then we checked the first value. That so far we found one value from the sequence that exists in the array. And then so what we want to do is, okay, so now we found the first value, we want to increment and move on to the value 6. And at the same time, we want to, yeah, and then also we want to increment the array index, because again, the idea is that we want to make sure these values are in order. So now, since we found the first value that's in the array, we don't have to worry about this anymore. So we can move on to the value of 6,
Mm-hmm.
and then so increment to the next value, and then yeah, we can also increment to the next value in the array. So
So right now you compare this 22 to which number in sequence array?
all right, so okay, so all right, let's start from the beginning. Sorry.
Yeah.
So let's say, all right, so I checked the, all right, if they're, so that we have 5 and 1, right? So
Yeah.
in this case, since 5 is not equal to 1,
So right now you loop the 5 first or loop the 1 first?
So if they're not equal, we would loop the 5 first. So
Okay, so we loop the array this first, then we compare 5, and then we loop the sequence same time, and then we
yeah,
compare
so
it 5
let,
same
let
as
me
1.
yeah, let me write if the values are not equal.
Uh-huh.
Increment the array. Hold on, close this. So the idea is that if they're not equal, then then we still want to check for this value. Yeah, we want to make sure we find this value first. But then from this case, since 5 and 1 are not equal,
Mm-hmm.
we don't need to check this value anymore. So we would increment to the next value in the array, and we want to make sure that 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 and then again we want to do the same check that if this value in
So,
the array. So yeah, go ahead.
so now we compare 1 and 1, right?
Yeah, 1 and 1. Yeah.
Okay.
So now in this case, since both of them are equal,
Uh-huh.
we don't need to check this anymore. So we move on.
We
We
don't need to
increment.
check this.
Yeah, we don't need to check this one anymore. So we increment to the value 6.
Okay.
And then
Now,
since we check this one too, and we verify that this is equal, we are also can increment and move on to this value. So now we're checking 22 and 6.
okay, so now when we move to the 6, so we check 6 with 5 first, or check with 6 with 22?
So 6 with 22.
Okay, so right now since we find this, so we move to here, then we just from 6 to 22, we don't need to compare 6 with 5 and 1, right?
No, not anymore. No, because
Okay.
since we did our first check with 1, and we confirmed that 1, I'm sorry, that the value 1 and the sequence was found in the array. So, and
Okay, so we're gonna 6 and compare with 22, see if it's equal or not, right?
yeah, and in this case, since they're not equal,
Uh-huh.
so we still want to make sure that we find the value 6. So we don't want to increment this yet, since they're
Okay.
not equal. So in this case, we would increment to 25.
So now it's 6 with 25, right?
And again, they're not equal, so we want to leave this alone. Don't increment. One is to leave it alone, meaning don't increment this one. And we
Okay.
want to increment this value, and then
Uh-huh.
we compare 6 and 6.
Okay,
Right.
so we will not increment this index until we find the same number, same
Right.
value. Okay.
So once we find the same values, then we
Yeah.
increment both the array and the
Okay.
sequence. Yeah.
Now we move to this, right?
Yeah.
Negative 1.
Are you guys with me so far? Sweetkar, is this making sense or?
Yeah, this is making sense.
Okay.
Okay. So now we compare negative 1 with which one in the array?
Okay, so now 6 and 6 are equal, so that's great. So now we did a check for this. Now we move on to -1, increment sequence, and same thing here too, -1.
Okay, negative 1 with negative 1.
Yep. And then again, they're equal. So, okay, that's great. So now we don't need to check these 3 anymore. Now we move on to the value of 10,
Uh-huh.
and then we also increment 8. So,
10 with 8.
yeah.
And if it's not equal, we just go here, right?
Yeah, so since they're not equal, then again, we leave this alone, don't increment this, and then we move on, we increment to the last value of 10.
Okay, sounds good.
And then, yeah, so now they're equal. So I guess the break condition would probably be that once we iterated through every value of the sequence, then we know that we found all these values in the array. Is this so? Like once I iterated through every single value, so I did 1, then moved to 6, 6, and moved to -1, then -1 and 10. Then I've finished iterating through all the values.
Uh-huh.
So when I say finish iterating to all the values, it means that I've confirmed that I found every value in the array.
You find every value in sequence array inside the array.
Right.
Okay. So what is your decision? Decision is sequence array, yes, subsequence of array.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, let me write this here. Oh, okay. So maybe yeah, go ahead.
So my understanding, I wanna confirm is it right or not. So basically, you iterate through all the elements in the sequence array, and you find every element matching value in the above array, and it is in order, right?
Right. Right.
So that means subsequence is a sequence array is subsequence of array that is returned true. What if the sequence array matches array but it's not in order?
Then it's
Uh,
false
yeah.
because it has to be in order.
Yeah. It has to be in order. So, I
Okay.
mean, yeah. So, I think for my logic, and it will seem that like once we've iterated through every value in our sequence, then
Mm.
once we have reached to the very end, then we know that we found all the values in our main array. So oh, that right there should tell us that it's true that we found every value from the sequence in the array, since we've iterated through every value until the very end and determined that every value is within the array in the correct order. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that if every value we iterated is equal to the length of the sequence, then it's true.
Uh,
Otherwise, otherwise, the if we don't reach the sequence, the length of the sequence, then it's false.
okay.
Is that making sense, or do you understand?
Yeah, that makes sense. It's actually like pretty creative too.
You
Uh,
sound like you cleaned up your answer a little bit as you were going along, because at first you were wanted to make sure we had the sequence by the time we got to the end of the array, and now it sounds like you're trying to figure out if we have our solution by the end of the sequence. So we're going to be. It sounds like we're going to be checking for both. Is that correct?
Uh,
We're gonna check whether or not we've finished the end of the main array, or we finished the end of the
right,
sequence.
right, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right. So, or yeah. Oh, hold on. So,
so do you
yeah, you
have
guys,
more
you guys can correct.
explanation?
Yeah.
Do you have extra added explanation upon awkward explanation?
I'm sorry.
Davian, do you have extra explanation of this
Oh,
thought process?
Yeah, you
oh.
can correct. Yeah.
So no. Your logic is correct. There's
Mm-hmm.
just one. We haven't gotten even to the improvements of code yet, but it sounds like you check each number, and obviously we're only gonna loop through it once from your explanation, and then once we find that the numbers match, if it's in order, then we return true. Correct.
Right, right.
So like at least in my example in my head, say now the numbers are like this, and
No,
then
we are in notes, Davian. Right
oh,
now
we're in
we are
notes. Are we? Am
yeah,
I not in notes? Where am I at? Oh,
Uh,
are in the question.
I was just in that file, and then I switched, and then it switched me back. I think it switched me back, yeah.
yeah, there.
So
So
Yeah, there you go.
we
so
will thought process map out, then become pseudo code, then become real code.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So just what it hypothetically like
Uh,
if we had this
mm-hmm.
in our array, when would our function return? I guess.
How come you have repeated? Sorry. How come you have repeated value here?
Oh, that's a good question. That was a random number I put in. I forgot it was in the beginning. So
While your random number is satisfy the requirement of the prompt. Yes, the prompt allow you to have repeated value, or doesn't really matter.
oh, I wasn't even thinking about that. But technically, in this case, it should be allowed to have a repeated value because the importance is the sequence. If one of the numbers is out of order and another one of the numbers is in the correct order, then it should still return true because we shouldn't be checking for the out of order number. We should be checking for the in order number. So it shouldn't matter if there's duplicates.
Okay.
But like I think Awad's like solution is like correct even if we add other elements, because we're just trying to check right here if this is in order. So once we get to the last element of sequence, then that's all we're trying to prove. We're just trying to prove if all of these elements are in sequence in this array.
Yeah.
So
That's
it
fine.
doesn't
So
really matter if these other numbers are there. We just need to end it once the sequence ends. And if the sequence never ends, then that means it's false.
Exactly. That's what I wanted to hear. That's all.
right.
And
Okay. Yeah.
and the sequence is the index number, right? Like a zero, not a sorted value. It's the index number sequence.
Right.
Okay, got it.
Okay. So should we? Okay. Try this up.
Okay, yeah. So you're gonna turn your logic into pseudocode, then turn pseudocode into JavaScript. And
Okay.
if you got stuck, ask help from Dr. David. Fix for us.
Not everyone's. I'm not Dr. Algo. I'm not Papa Algo. I'm not Clever Algo. I'm none of that. I'm just Devin.
Just Devin. Okay.
If you have more better explanation, you can just feel free, contribute to your thought input.
Uh,
All
do you
right.
want to like split screen just so that you
Okay,
don't?
that's a good idea.
Split screen.
Oh
How do
yeah.
we,
Hold on, let me close that one. Then close this one. Yes, that's better. Can you guys see?
Yeah, we can see that.
Okay, maybe I close this one.
okay.
And I can take some notes. Yeah.
All right. So do you just want me to type the code, or are we having a navigator and driver, or how are we doing this again?
Okay, so I don't know, like you probably just do. Can you do the pseudocode first? For the like line 25.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
pseudocode. Okay.
Yeah. That's what the driver recommends. You just put your code here, and and that's it.
Okay. All right. So I
Okay,
guess okay, I'll just type up my pseudocode then. So what I'm saying is we want
maybe.
to so yeah, what I'm saying is so we want to start well, sorry.
Yeah, Yeah, do I need to write some notes for one? Or you can just write it. Yeah. Sorry, you can just write it.
Do you want me to write it here or
No. Pseudocode here in line 25.
Yeah. A lot. You have to write pseudocode in line 25 in the JS file.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's where I was. Okay, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So I guess we want to start at the beginning of the array. So have one pointer for the beginning of the array, and then
So what does that mean? You initiate, right? You
yeah,
initiate.
I'm just initializing the starting value.
Okay.
So I have one pointer at the beginning of the array and one pointer at the beginning of the sequence.
Okay.
Right. So let me just go to my notes again.
Oh, sorry. Here. Your notes line 32, right?
Yeah.
Well,
line
well,
32.
the notes that we wrote here, I'm just going through them. So just to make sure.
Okay.
Okay.
No pressure.
Take your time.
Okay.
But we need to really understand the. Okay, let me create another file called notes.
Okay. No, then I think Then I think what we want is do a for loop for the array and a for loop for the sequence. So So let's see. Best way to write this is
You're gonna pseudo the for loop?
yeah. So I mean, do I write it here or so I'm saying like we do one for loop for the array, and then we do a one for loop for the sequence. So and we want to iterate to the very end. So um, all right. So that's for the main array, and then we want to do the same thing for the sequence. So
You just wrote the code. This is not pseudocode.
okay, oh my bad. Yeah.
That's what I wanted to say. I'm like, you're gonna pseudocode the entire solution.
Yeah, you guys gotta correct me. So.
So you just say first, I want to initiate a start point, like init start to point.
Right.
Then you say next step, we're gonna loop through. Then you're gonna map up your steps.
Okay. Right.
Then you go over your steps into real code.
Okay. Got
Yeah,
it.
write your steps. Do not code your steps.
Okay. Got it. Yeah, I was getting a little carried away. Create outer for loop for the array starting from array and I'll put another line here. First sequence. It's all right. So is this making sense so far? What I'm doing?
Yeah. So your first step is initiate to start pointer, which is index or start from the first element, which is 0, right? Then second step, you're gonna create a outer for loop for the array starting from array index. So you're gonna loop through the array name array, right, to the end, which is the end of element.
Right.
Okay. Then you create an inner for loop to sequence start. Okay, so now you have a for loop, is outer loop, loop through the first array. Then you create an inner loop. Then you create an inner loop to loop through the second array named sequence, right? Then still the start point is 0, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Then until 10, the last element.
Until last element.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Okay. And then what we want to do is compare.
Maybe I write step 1.
Yeah, go ahead. The value in the sequence and do the following verifications.
I love this teamwork. I wish all my technical interviews were like this. Like, can you help me pseudocode real quick?
I'll help you write notes.
Although they have a couple of them did.
Is this how like technical interviews require you to do? Do they like require you to do pseudocode then?
It's not necessarily required, but it is recommended. And like in my interviews,
it's like
they did kind of do it.
Them to, like,
They did do it.
So like in my case, they would like and similar to this, they would kind of copy paste they wait for me to once they join, I would log into like a blank screen. We talk like 2 minutes, and then they paste the question into the editor, and then from there I would ask questions about how do I solve it, what kind of data am I getting, and then they would kind of pseudocode it in terms of like, here's an example input, here's an example data set. Um, Given this, it would be true or false, and the more questions you ask, the more help you kind of get, as long as they're not like terrible questions where it's like they're not going to answer it for you. So this is more or less how a technical interview would go. You would ask questions, like, can numbers repeat or in the array, or things like that, or and then you would kind of either you would pseudocode it based on, so you let him know that you understand the question, or they would pseudocode what they're trying to tell you, as far as like what the answer is and what you potentially would need to do to solve it.
Okay.
So yeah, pseudocoding helps, especially if there's any kind of like language barrier or anything. It's a lot easier to pseudocode because then they could just read it and kind of understand and be like, no, that's wrong. I didn't mean that.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So yeah, this is my pseudocode.
Okay, can you explain? So we everybody understand what we loop, right? So we loop in auto loop array, then in the loop sequence. Then what's the next step? Step
Okay.
3. Yeah.
So now what we want to do is
Yeah.
follow step 3.
Yeah.
Compare each value. So let's say, okay, we're comparing the starting value of the array, which is 5,
Uh-huh.
the starting value of the sequence, which is 1. So
Okay.
so we want to see whether those values equal each other or they don't equal each other.
Uh-huh.
If they don't equal each other, then what that means is we still want to find this value of 1 in this array. So we don't want to increment sequence yet, since we're still looking for this value. This, again, assuming that they're not equal, we want to increment the array in this case. So is that clear?
Okay, so that is how you teach me, see if I understand. So if you say, because right now we are in step 3, right? So we just gonna compare for the loop. So we compare each element with each element of sequence array. Then after we do the loop, so what we compare is we're gonna compare each element here, like number with this, number with this. So the thing is, so your first one is if it's equal or if it's not equal. If the element is equal or if not equal.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Sorry. So I think I got it wrong. So this is first one is if match, right? If match, if equal.
Yeah, if they match, if the values are equal, yeah.
If equal, then you're gonna increment. Then you increment both array index and the secret index.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, we want to increment both.
So first we loop like this. So if matches, because in this scenario the first element is not matched. So but it's not for every scenario. So you say if matches, then we increment. So we move to next because we increment index, right? So we compare 12 with 6, right? Because it's match, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that is the logic. Got it. Then second, you say if not match, right?
Yeah.
If not match, if value and nothing not match. Sorry, I did a bad notes. But I try to understand. Then increment only array index. So for example, because the first scenario is if match, then we increment index, so we move to the right, the point system. So another scenario is if not match. For example, we compare this is not match, so we're gonna go the second 3.1.8 scenario. If not match, so we will use the formula of only increment array index. So we will not move sequence to 6. We just schedule 1. Then we only move array index, which is move from 0 to 1. So here the value is 1, right? But
Right.
the index value is 1, 2.
Yeah.
You understand that. So then if sequence index reach to the end of sequence array, we return true. Okay, so this is not a match. So this is what else if? So you have if, let's say this if equal, and else, right? Then
Right.
what is
Yeah.
this? Is this else if, or you just return true outside the loop or outside the if?
So the value. So this would be inside the loop. So if array and sequence match, then we want to increment. So I think these two if and or elif methods would be inside the for loop. So
I don't understand. Does everybody understand? Like I don't understand. If sequence index reach to the end, so that is the
okay, yeah. Oh, you're talking about
is the
the
step
statement?
inside the 3.1.b steps, right? Or 3.1.8, or it's just everything like outside the if statement.
So okay, so this so this over here is what we want to do after we've outside the main for loops. So yeah, outside the main for loop, yeah. So then once we've looped done our comparison and with either the array or the sequence,
Uh-huh.
then we want to I think ultimately what we want to do is verify the sequence IDX and verify that this sequence IDX is equal to the length of the sequence. So
So okay, so I don't understand. So if sequence index reach to the end of sequence array, we return true, right? So that is outside the if statement or outside the outer loop or outside the inner loop.
okay, I see what you're saying. Okay,
Yeah.
so in this case, yeah, it would be I think it would be the outside of the main for loop. So this right here would be outside the main for loop. Yeah.
Outside the outer loop, right?
Outside the outer loop, because this is the main thing that we want to check once we've finished our iterations and comparisons. We want to compare or verify this outside of the outer loop. So
Okay, so this is outside the outer loop, return true. Then this is what if sequence never reach to the end, return false. So what you mean is outside the outer loop, because we have two loop, right? One is outer loop, one is inner loop. So you mean after the outer loop, we're gonna do another conditional check, like if statement, or we just return true, because you
the main reason we do
end
the
or
two
not.
for loops is the main reason we do the two for loops is that
Yeah.
we want to compare, as I said, every value in a sequence and to every value in the array. So we want to compare each other and make sure that we find all the values in the array in the
Mm-hmm.
exact order that we have them in a sequence. So that's why we have two for loops. We have one, as I said, to iterate to the array, and then we have another for loop just for the sequence. So and then we use these pointers to compare the values in both the array and a sequence if they're and so and then once we use the if conditions, then outside of the outer for loop, our ultimate goal is to um, look at our sequence underscore idx and see that whether it is equal to the it has reached to the end of the sequence. So, or yeah, reached to the very end, meaning it is equal to the sequence dot length. So if it reaches to the very end of the sequence array, then we know that we found every value in the array in its proper order. So in that case, it would return true. If
Okay,
we,
I understand. So that means if we find the other value, right? So we just return. If we didn't find, we return false. Got it.
okay,
Okay, let me say something.
go ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
so I'll do this in like the most interviewee way of possible without giving you an answer.
Yeah.
So I'm confused as far as what is the inner loop comparing to the outer loop again. Because you said
Okay.
you want
Yeah.
the inner loop is comparing the sequence array. If I'm getting that correctly.
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
Okay, and what are we comparing the sequence array to in the inner loop?
So okay. So for the inner loop, we're comparing the sequence array to the outer for loop, and which is the main array. So I guess what I was trying to say was because at the end of the day, we're gonna have to iterate to both of these. So so what I was saying was we have an outer for loop for the array, and then the inner for loop goes to the it's for the sequence. So outer for loop for the array, meaning that we're iterating to each value in the array, but at the same time, since we want to ensure that these values are in the array and in the proper order, we want to have another for loop, the inner for loop, which would be for the sequence, where we iterate to each value of the sequence and compare to each value that we're using from the outer for loop for the array.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Or
So here's again, I'm practicing my interviewer skills too. So that does make sense. My question for you is, because you're comparing the inner loop, you're starting the inner loop.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, the outer loop is okay. Let's ask one more question first before I say,
Yeah.
when does the outer loop start comparing the inner loop?
So so we start at the beginning for each. So for example, so as I said, we have the 2 pointers, right? So the array IDX is for the starting value. Um, I'm sorry, the starting value of the array. So in this case, let's say we're starting at 5, right, for the array, and we do the same thing for the sequence IDX pointer, which starts at the starting value of the sequence, which is 1, right? So like we start comparing right away, like from the beginning of both the array and the beginning of the sequence. And then what we want to do is if the values with our if conditions right here, if the starting value of the array is equal to the starting value, or let's say not equal, for example, is not equal to the starting value of the sequence, then we don't want to iterate or continue iterating to sequence because we still want to make sure that we find this value in the main array. So in this case, we would iterate to the array, iterate once to the array. And then we do our next comparison, saying, okay, I've iterated, I've iterated 1 up, so now I'm comparing 1 to the starting value of the sequence, which is 1. And then we have another else if condition saying, all right, since they're equal, now we found our first match meaning we found 1 value of the first value in the sequence that's in the array. And since we found our first value in the array, we don't need to check this again. So what that means is we can iterate sequence IDX and now look for the number 6. And or to find number 6, and we could also iterate through the array as well, since we found the first value from the sequence that's in the array. So we don't need to check this anymore. And then we just follow the same steps, whether if they're not equal in this case, we still want to find number 6. So we iterate only the array IDX. Now we have 25 and 6, right? They're not equal. So again, all right, leave this alone, meaning don't iterate this yet. Then we move on to the value 6. So now we have the other else if condition. Since they're both equal, what that means is we no longer need to check this value anymore, since we found this value in the main array. So we just again go 1 up for both the sequence. Now we're looking for -1. And since we've already compared to 6, we don't need to compare this either. So we also move up 1. That's, again, assuming that both the value in the array and the value of the sequence are equal. Is it clear so far? Or?
So it sounds like the inner loop is keeping track of which number we're comparing.
Right.
Ah.
So the inner loop is which is a sequence in this case, since this is a number that we're comparing. Because again, the problem is asking us to verify whether this is a subsequence of this main array. So regardless of whether these numbers are, again, as we said, adjacent to one another or not, so they don't necessarily have to be adjacent. We just want to ensure that we find all the values in the proper order in the main array. So So to answer your question, yes, the inner for loop is used just to compare the values that we're looking for in the main array.
Great. So that's perfect. Now I understand, which leads which leads me to my last question.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Is there another way we can track the index of the inner array, of the sequence array? Because right now we're using it to see to find a match. Because we don't need to find all the numbers, period. We need to find them in order. So if we're just keeping track of the numbers in the array in order, is there another way to track which index we're looking for, other than a for loop?
Is this a second approach?
Well,
okay.
No, they're kind of similar.
Are you asking if there's a more efficient way of doing it,
both approaches would benefit from this question. My question is right now we're using a loop to track which number in the sequence we're looking for.
Right.
And she's talking about whether the first approach or the second approach, one is a while loop, one's a for loop. Neither matter in this case because neither have an inner loop. So my question is, without completely throwing the bag away, is there another way to keep track of the index we're on, other than starting another loop to keep track of the index? Because she mentioned pointers. Jennifer mentioned pointers earlier.
I guess. I think it was similar to what we did on Friday, right? Where we had
like
for the first solution,
while loop for index. Compare. Yeah.
It is somewhat similar to that, and
right.
Okay. I guess that was the first thing that came to my mind was those for loops. So
because I was confused at first until you explained it, and I'm like, oh, okay, so that's what the second loop is for. So I'm not gonna give it away. So please continue with. I just wanted to.
Okay.
So
are we all on the same page though? What I'm doing? Do we understand what we're doing?
Does anybody have question? If not, we're gonna write code. Does anybody have a question about the pseudocode?
No, I don't have any questions.
You totally understand?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, you can start the pseudocode. I'm gonna go a little bit come back. You guys can continue the pseudocode, okay?
Is it pseudocode time or real code time now?
Pseudocode or real? This is a pseudocode, so do I write the real code?
I would like, if you're done pseudocoding, I would like to see the real code now. If you're done.
Okay. Should I just type it, or how are we gonna do this?
So
navigator.
I think I could potentially navigate this now that I understand it, because I'm not gonna lie, I was confused at first. Okay, I'll be your you tell me what to write, and I'll try to navigate.
Okay. So starting at line 34, right? Or
am I in the right thing? Okay, yeah. So what we're gonna do is could I write the code in between the comments? So based on what it sounds like.
Oh, okay. Okay, sure.
It sounds something like we're doing this so far. This step one.
Yeah.
If that makes okay, we started writing. Oh, there's no. Where's the closing bracket? Okay, there we go.
Who's writing real code? Maybe
So now we're writing we're real coders now.
real code. Yeah.
So tell me what's next. We got those variables. So then I'm supposed to follow the. I'm supposed to create an outer loop according to this.
Yeah. So we'll do one for the for the array. So you can say
Yeah.
So we already defined array ID. So we'll say for array underscore IDX,
Okay.
and then
Oh wait.
You
X.
not tell him the whole answer.
He's telling. You just tell me what to type. You're telling me what to type.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I didn't.
That's-
No one's giving anyone an answer.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying like what to type. So that's what I.
Okay.
Okay.
Starting
Alright,
from
so-
array index to the end of the array. Okay.
Yeah. So then array underscore IDX is less than array dot length.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Then we want to array underscore IDX plus plus.
No. He gonna write code. If you tell him exactly, that's not good.
Wait. If who tells me?
But
If he tells me exactly what to write.
So should I let him write it then or what?
No. Davian should lock the pseudo code, then come out with the.
Oh, you want me to follow the pseudocode? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, okay.
Not
okay.
to tell you type exactly, unless you are beginner, you know.
I just don't want to write
Beginner,
this.
we can do that.
Okay.
I'm like I was gonna refuse to write this for a second, but okay. So I'll just follow the pseudocode then, per
Yeah.
Jennifer's instructions. All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna use the bathroom. I'll be right back. Give me
Okay, yeah.
a few minutes. Yeah.
She's gonna insult me like that. How dare you? How dare you? I didn't even want to write this. Oh, what the? That's not it.
Yeah.
This is exhausting. We'll follow verifications.
And if you have question, you can verify from our, you know.
I may have to do that.
Jennifer?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I gotta go because I gotta eat dinner.
Okay, no problem. Thanks for joining.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
thank
problem.
yeah.
Will there also be a session next Sunday too?
Yes. And we have Friday too, but maybe too late for your time zone, which is
Yeah, it will.
okay. You can join next session, and we will send you the notes. Okay.
Okay, yeah, thanks.
Okay.
I'll post
Bye.
this recording too. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Bye. Okay, let's continue.
This is quite interesting here.
Does he come back? Not yet? Okay, so only you and me. That's fine. Yes. Mm?
I'm following exactly as he's writing it.
Yeah. If you have bug, that means his thought process has bug, and we need to debug together. You know. Does he come back? Not yet. If I think this probably has problem array plus plus then sequence index.
That's why I was so confused.
And we will let him fix for you. Even you know how to write the in a right way, you should pretend you don't.
I honestly was like, I'm so unprepared for this question. I didn't look at it, and then when the call started, I like did it, and I was like, oh, okay, cool.
That's
I was like, awesome. Like that didn't take long at all. That was quicker than the first one. Now how am I gonna? Now let me look at the answer. Oh, okay.
we got to use pseudocode. So does he come back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay, so if Debian record has problem, you're gonna fix our okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whoa, what in the?
If his code has bug, that means your pseudocode is not right.
And then okay. It doesn't matter.
So he basically just write exactly what you described in pseudocode.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how that works. That's. Oh wait, outside of both.
I can delete that one. Yeah.
It's unformatted, so it's hard to read. Is there a prettier on this thing? Is there like?
I do have prettier, but I am amazed by your, the brackets thing. It's hard to match all the brackets. Okay.
The color braces helps a lot.
Okay, I can check if your this is outside of the for loop or not, because the first for loop is here. So yes, you are outside of the outer loop, because the inner loop is here. So you are right.
I'll just throw an else, I guess. Just
Before we submit to get it wrong, do you have any question about his code which doesn't match your thought process?
Oh, you're asking me?
You're gonna lock every single line.
does this make sense?
Yeah.
Let me take a look. Hold on.
Okay.
Some formatting would be great. Format, please. Format. What?
I don't know.
Yeah, why is formatting off? So
Where is the formatter?
I don't know. Just leave like this.
Prettier needs a file to work. Unfortunately, that's half the problem with it.
I have Pretty installed.
You need like a prettier file with
I even have
instructions.
the rainbow thing.
That's slightly better.
Yeah.
Sure.
okay, so
Something like that. Wait. Yeah.
should be indebtedness. Yeah.
And then the ifs and yeah.
And indebtedness too.
Oh yeah, that's.
Yeah, and probably this one also. Right, yeah. So let array, then for array.
Does it work though?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah.
about indexing, Okay,
Sorry?
just look the logic. Is it right?
So if if array IDX. If so, okay. So now once we're done, let's see here.
Now,
Yeah,
I
I think
wanna
it looks.
I wanna
I
test
think it
if
looks
this
right.
works. I'm about to test it right now.
Okay.
I would.
I
So,
think it looks. And
so,
just my first. Yeah, you want to
so
test it?
that we get it wrong?
I'm gonna.
Sorry.
Okay. We're gonna run it, right?
Yeah, let's run and see it. See how
Oh,
Okay.
it
you're
goes.
ready to run and see it. Okay.
Copy it. Run it. So we don't have second solution today, just one solution. I didn't
Yeah, there
prepare.
was no third
Yeah.
solutions. That's why I was like, "What you mean?"
Okay, you guys ready? Let me see the test case.
I know the answer, so I'm not gonna spoil it.
Oh.
Wait, what did you do? No, that's not right.
Let me see. Okay.
Oh,
What's wrong? Can I see where is wrong for this?
Something is it our formatting or is it
I think it will, automatically format for us. I can just do another one. So hold on. It's gonna go right here.
interesting. So when I ran it, it passed the test case we gave it, but it failed the submission.
Ooh, what's wrong?
Oh, now I'm getting nothing but errors.
Do you guys want to run on your expert, see if it's passing or not?
I'm running it and
I
it's not.
have problem with this line. I think this line has some problem. So if this, then it has array index plus sequence index plus definitely has some problem. And I think every time we do like a for loop 2 times, the first index or something have to +1 or something like that. Remember, remember on Friday we have something like J +1 and we forgot +1.
Yes. But all oh man, we gotta debug this code. Okay, I think it's because honestly the inner for loop, because it's a for loop, it's going to increment. It's not going to stay the same index that we set it every time.
okay?
Because the inner for loop starts no matter what even if we tell it, don't increment the sequence index, the for loop is going to increment it every time it started.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. So it's gonna increment it. Yeah.
So who gonna debug this thing?
Not me, I ain't write it. No, I'm kidding.
Will you debug this thing?
You know what? Let me.
Answer?
I think. Let me see.
Or
Uh.
maybe
All right. I think I
instead of
have a
doing.
way to do it with this kind of thing.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Uh. So it's just gonna be. Oh, I deleted a thing. Whoops.
Did the streetcar leave? Streetcar?
Oh, I think maybe step 4 is supposed to be sequence dot links -1, right? Cause that is sequence index. How can you equal to our length?
If we
If you,
because
if your logic is right, if our logic is right.
if the logic is right and
Yeah.
if the sequence index is equal to, if we're on the last item and the sequence index is equal to the array index, it's going to go plus plus. So in our case, if we're on, it's going to equal, in this test case, it's going to equal 4. So,
Okay, yeah.
and 4 is not in our array. So It's
out of
but
range.
it's equal to the length of the array. So this should still work. Wait, what was I doing? Oh yeah, let me see this solution.
I think this has problem line 44.
So sequence. Let me think.
Sequence index equals sequence dot length.
Is
Oh yeah, hold on.
I don't know if we should be condoning this loop.
Can I try -1, see if it's working or not?
I mean, you can
Okay.
try.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can change to Algo expert. So this if
I like you.
sequence.
You can
Yeah,
try.
I think I might have another approach on this. So,
No.
no.
No,
So none of test case is passing. That is the problem. Oh my God, are
exactly.
you watching the infinite?
Or maybe
I'm getting an
Look,
infinite loop now.
it's oh my God, it's an infinity loop. I gonna I gonna I'm not going to run that because last time I write infinity loop, it crashed my computer.
No, in the
Um,
it just tells me my code ran out of memory. That's all it told me when I ran it.
okay, so I think the loop has some problem for like how we loop it, you know. So we can compare this one with this one. Loop through this first, then we loop through this.
I'm gonna call you Konami until this code works. So Konami, uh, so what's your other what's your other solution?
where's Sweetcar? Did he leave Sweetcar?
Yeah, he had to go eat
Yeah,
with his
he
parents.
left.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah. No, I think maybe we can use a while loop of instead of two for loops. So
That was my thought.
so what was that? Sorry.
That was my thought for this.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now that
Um,
I think what you were saying was right. I think this is incrementing no matter what, right? So like it's
so
not really.
while we're gonna change the thought process a little bit too.
Uh, well, the thing is, like with a while loop, like we want it to increment only when it meets this condition. Like I think with the for loop, I think what we're doing here is that no matter what, like even if we don't meet these conditions, we're iterating it here, and then we're iterating again, like when we meet the condition. So, I guess with the for loop, what we were doing here was before even meeting the conditions, we were already iterating either the array IDX or the sequence IDX, which is not correct. So, um, so, I, uh, so
Do
I
you
guess because of
add it
that,
to the code?
sorry.
Do you wanna add it to the code to while loop?
Yeah. Do you want to do a pseudocode or just want to write it?
Just write it. if
Okay.
if code not wrong, pseudocode is wrong too. You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why is that highlighted? How do you get rid of that highlight?
You just I think
Oh,
just change
whose
to
highlight is
the
that? Mine is that?
funding.
Sorry, I'll get rid of that.
Okay, yeah, there we go. Okay. Okay, yeah. So let me just
So
write it.
I was forbidding you to write any more code until you figured out what to do next.
Or you can tell exactly what should be typed to Davian. He can type or I can type. You know, you are
Okay.
the navigator. Yeah, whatever you want to choose.
So he's a while loop
Yeah.
and so okay. Let me think. So he's a while loop and and run following conditions while array slash idx is yeah is
So in your while loop condition, what you are compare? Like
So yeah, okay. So I think the mistake we made was before I explained it. I think the mistake we made was this is already iterating even before we check these conditions. So that's not right. So the reason I'm using a while loop is that we want these to increment according to the conditions. So
Okay.
instead of using a for loop would not help us because again the main idea, as I said, is if they're equal, then we want to increment. If they're not equal, then we want to increment only the array IDX. So the for loop will increment no matter what. So in this case, we don't use a for loop. We would use a while loop. So
Okay,
and
wait, one more last suggestion. So, like, the last time we were messing with the for loop, you said the issue was the for loop would always reset our sequence index no matter what, because it would always, plus plus. And
Right.
it will always increment. Yeah, like
so, should we just leave it to be static and just increment it on our own outside of a loop?
Oh, so you mean we can just for sequence index -1, right? So we just
Because this looks like as far as what we're checking, everything looks correct, but the loops seem to get in the way of like what's incrementing.
loop. Yeah.
okay. So well, I'm sorry. Okay, can you repeat that?
So looking at the code now, if array index is equal to sequence index, basically, it's going to array index plus plus, but it's going to plus plus anyway because of the outer for loop. And currently, if the sequence index is equal as well, the same thing, it's going to plus plus, but then when the for loop starts, it's going to reset. So I feel like there's too many loops tracking too many pointers.
Right.
Okay.
I think maybe for the outer loop, then the inner loop will never get index equal 0 because it will start with 1. Because they are I don't really know. Just forget about me.
What do you mean you don't know?
I think my opinion is wrong. So
Why?
yeah, you guys.
I don't want to give my opinion. My opinion is based on fact. No, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to give my opinion. I want him to figure it out because I don't know how to
Okay,
give an opinion.
let's do while loop
Okay. So
because it's not optimal solution anyway. Loop 2
Okay.
times.
yeah.
Okay,
Not optimal.
tell me, tell me when the while loop ends, because my while loop is getting an infinite loop. When does the while loop break out?
All right. So it's so again we will utilize these and then I guess we can use one while. So we can say while the array IDX is less than the length of the array, and the sequence IDX is less than than the length of the sequence. Then we want to execute this, execute the following
Is
code
that
right
for
here.
is that for the outer loop or the inner loop?
So okay, so what I'm saying is, we replace the two for loops with one while loop. So I'll say,
Right. Yeah.
sorry.
You
I think
don't have to sound so excited, Jennifer. You could calm down. Like he's like yes. I'm like shh. Like, okay, we can try that.
So yeah, so what I'm saying is that, so we don't need the two for loops in this case. I'm saying like replace the two for loops with the one while loop.
Okay,
Yeah.
write the pseudo code for that, and I'm gonna write the code for that.
Okay. I think I have it right here. Yeah, I have it.
Oh, did you write it already? Oh, use a while loop.
Yeah. So let's get rid of these for loops. Two for loops.
Yeah.
Okay, and then
And get rid of
this
two.
is a while loop now, and
Yeah.
array array index is less than array length, if sequence index is less than sequence length. That's what it sounds like, correct? I butchered that. Is less than this, and then sequence index. What are those variables? Oh wait, no, that's not even how you IDX is less than.
No, and you're gonna
Oh
write
right,
and.
and
Okay.
I would have got it eventually. No, okay.
I gonna delete that create inner loop.
Yeah, get rid of that. Okay.
Then what should we do?
Does the rest of the logic
So
stay the same, or do we change it?
let me just take a look at this. So yeah, while array IDX less than array dot length, and sequence IDX is less than sequence dot length. Sorry, 1 minute. Yeah. So yeah, if and then yeah, so yeah, this is fine. Yeah, I think this looks fine here. Then this is all in one while loop, and then yeah, just making sure that
So just like you're reading the code. If this was an interview, I don't know what you're thinking. So could you read the code out loud?
okay, sure. So all right, so instead of doing so we're doing one while loop saying while array underscore IDX is less than the array dot length, and a sequence IDX is less than sequence dot length. And then again, we're doing our same if condition, starting with the first values for the array and the sequence. And then, so if the values are the same, then we again from our example, if they're the same, then we found the first value in the array. So we can increment both the sequence IDX, which is what we're doing here, and the array IDX, which is what we're doing here. That's assuming that they're the same. But if they're not the same, then so that can else if they're not the same, then we don't want to increment the sequence IDX because we're trying to find this value. So what that means is we want to increment the array IDX. So okay, let's move on to the next value and see if this value is found in the sequence. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that this logic will still be the same right here. Everything inside the while loop will be the same logic, and then once we execute this entire logic, we want to determine we want to do a check on whether the sequence IDX that we have has reached the end of the sequence array. So if that were the case, then we return true. So sequence IDX equals the end of the sequence array. Yeah, return true, since that means we have iterated through every value in the sequence and determine that they're all in the main array. So yeah, that's true. But if we have not reached the end of the sequence, then from this condition here, we return false. So
where your end? So you end your while loop here, right? End the while loop here.
end of the while loop, and this everything here, this check is done outside of the while loop.
I think these can be refactored, so we just be like.
Well, of course they can. I would just.
Yeah,
I just wrote it spelled out.
Maybe we can, return
sequence, these stuff. Because if it's equal, then it will be true. If not equal, it's gonna be false.
Yeah. This is even simpler. Yeah. Okay.
But this this is right too, right?
Yeah.
They're the same thing. Yeah, they're the same.
But there's a simpler method, as you can say, return.
Get it wrong first. See if it's working.
Okay.
I just wanted it spelled all the way out because it's gonna be spelled all because that's how he needs to read it.
Okay. No problem. Okay. Finger crossed. I go. This is definitely spaghetti.
Oh, good.
The problem is we created the infinity
Oh
loop.
yeah, so that was our issue then. That we used a for loop, like it was incrementing before meeting the conditions.
Yeah,
But so that was
I
not
gonna
right.
try
Yeah.
if
So
that
yeah.
works or not.
I'm
So you
I'm gonna copy this to mine now, and add this as a potential solution.
okay, so I gonna delete the oh no,
Get
I
that up
need
out of there. Get that out. No.
common out. Yeah. Okay. See if it's work or not. It's working too. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
good. All right.
Yeah.
Oh
All right.
yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. Nice.
So the loop issue, I
Yeah.
gonna
So yeah,
uh,
we just mixed up the loops. We used the wrong one. Like, because the for loop, it didn't make sense. So
yeah,
we want to first make sure that the condition is satisfied before we even start looping. So that's
yeah.
that was a mistake that I made. Yeah.
Good job, Howard.
And you
You're
Good job,
and
everyone.
you came to it on your own. I didn't tell you what to write. I tried to tell you what to write, but I didn't, and you figured it out.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Then I was taking a second look. I realized, oh yeah, it's for loop wouldn't work because we don't want to increment it until we meet the condition first. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. So here, this is the notes. So I guess you will never forget Howard about this question.
Yeah,
Oh,
if it comes up,
Even when you sleeping in your dream, you probably
yeah, maybe dream it, or
I'm a
dream it, or
I'm
if
gonna
it's
wake up in the middle of the
right
night. Nested for loops.
up. Yeah, like randomly just set it up.
okay. Good job. I gonna send this to you guys. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
We still have like 15 minutes left. Does anybody wanna discuss about career or job
Uh,
application or whatever?
Oh, do you want to talk about the time
that's
complexity
what I
of
was gonna
this?
ask. I was like, last thing is like, what's the time and space?
I
Where
forgot.
are we in time and space in relation to this function?
Okay, I didn't study this question today.
Oh,
Oh,
you
I
didn't?
can,
Oh no.
Okay. You,
but I
Okay,
can
I'll
say
ask it. I'll. Okay, well, I.
the same time. Yes. Okay, let me take a look. Time will be. Okay, I will just say time. Okay, here is. Are we writing here right? Last time I
Yes,
forgot.
we did.
I complexity.
What's
You
what's
will
the
be.
big O?
I just gonna guess. Okay, I think this is while loop. So it will be O and log O. I don't really know.
You don't know?
Then but I know the space complexity.
What space?
So the space complexity is easy because we did not create extra memory or extra array. So we are stay the same space complexity. I think I got typo, but doesn't really matter. So it will be one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
object one. There we go.
One. Yeah, this is definitely right.
yeah.
The N is I can explain. N is the length of array, right?
Okay.
The length of array.
Yes.
So we got array.
So, Awad, what's your answer?
My
For the,
answer is
for the time or space.
For
Sorry.
both. It's
uh,
So yeah, I agree with the space. Since we're not using extra space, we're just iterating through each number in the array. Or I'm sorry, each value. So that space will be all of one.
yeah.
And for time complexity, since we're just iterating through the array once, it'll be I'm sorry, I'm iterating through the array linearly. So based off that, I'd say the time complexity would be O of n.
so you say it's O of n. Okay.
Yes.
I don't know the answer though this time. Probably my
So
answer.
yeah, let me just think about it, make sure. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I can go with that. Yeah. Yeah. You're gonna.
Clear out.
Okay. Subject 1. Subject 2.
Oh my god.
Well, I know the answer and I looked it up, so I'm not answering this. Both.
Okay.
I do both.
Okay. I am kind of like share screen. Does anybody did not share their screen can check the answer on Algo Expert very quickly?
Oh,
What is
I know it and I checked it. So
okay?
this solution is very similar.
My name right?
It's very similar to solution 1 that they gave.
Mm-hmm.
Solution 1 and 2 had very little differences other than one used a while loop and one used a for loop.
Mm-hmm.
So based on that, the time complexity is it's O of n. I don't do good drum rolls. So the time complexity is O of n, and the space complexity is O of 1. So based on looking at where's your code? I gotta scroll up to your code. But based on your code, because of the way the while loop is, we're only iterating through it once because no matter whether or not the sequence length matches the array index, or whether or not the sequence index matches the array index, we're always incrementing the array index, no matter which condition is true. And because of that, worst case, we're going to loop through the entire array index fully. So based on the array index, it's based on the length of the array, which is our longest piece of data, it is O of n. Because we will only loop through that once.
Okay. So why is not n log n?
Be-
I mean, like not why is our when we use n log n?
when do we use n log n?
Yeah.
If we somehow managed to get the first solution working, it probably would have been n log n, because we would have had to loop through the data somewhat of a second time. If not the full length of the array, then at least a part of it a second time. So you usually use n log n. Like, for example, if we had to compare this not in sequence and find out the entire array.
Can you give us
Example?
an example?
I'm trying to think of an
Demo.
example. I don't know of a demo. I don't know. Off the side.
I know if we use loop 2 times, definitely become O2 n. You know.
So 2 separate loops is 2n.
Yeah.
And then a nested loop is n squared if you loop through everything exactly twice.
Nested loop, I don't know if no nested loop. So the one we trying to do is nested loop definitely what n square.
I'm gonna just do the thing of that
n square. Yes, that's what you mean. If nested loop, it's gonna be n square, right?
Yes. So I'm gonna say O of n, or O of n, 1 loop through the array, and then just like some examples, 2n, 2 loops through an array, one starting after the other.
Okay. So like 2 for loop.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna go back and do O log n. I have to think of log n. But O(n) squared, where's the caret? Would be nested for loops. Yeah, basically comparing every element in both outer and inner loops. And then O n log n would be a nested loop where the inner loop doesn't iterate through the entire array. So for example, like in this case, if it was a sequence array, say because we need to check if the elements are in order, if in the inner loop we only, instead of starting from 0, we only started from the outer array index and checked the rest of the array, it'd be O(n) log n, because every time we go into the inner array, the inner for loop, the amount of things we loop through is shorter each time. So if this was like, I don't know, just another while loop, I don't know what we're doing it, while sequence index.
Okay, thanks for your summary. I guess in future we will encounter those problems.
They'll come in often more in the second one. So like while the sequence index, so if we like checked for one of these values in a second loop, because the array index does not get, we don't check the entire outer array, the loop would get smaller each time, and each data set we look through gets shorter and shorter. So that's why that's be an example of n log n. I can't really convert this problem to n log n off the top of my head because I can't think of it, but of like how to get it actually working. But that's usually when you encounter it. So if you know, like you'll come across problems where, like for example, if we needed to check the sequence as exactly in order, that would be an example of O(n) log n, because as soon as you find the matching index, you would start an inner loop, and then that inner loop would check how many numbers are consecutively, versus this problem where they have to be consecutive, but they don't have to be in direct order one after the other. If they had to be one directly after the other, you would use an inner loop potentially and compare all those. There's other problems that I'm sure are in this thing, you know, like the longest subset of a string or some other named problem that will cover n log n best cases. Because, like how I said, pretty much all sorting algorithms are n log n, because you have to compare you have to loop through everything at least once, and then you need some sort of an inner loop to compare where that element goes that you're sorting. But the loop is always going to get shorter the more that the array is sorted.
Okay.
But that's like pseudo code. I'm not explaining it the exact best.
Yeah. Okay, sounds pretty good.
I hope so.
Pretty happy with today's thought process.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so we spent a lot of time debugging. But
Good job, Howard.
Yes, you got it working.
teamwork. I think, teamwork. We all did it. So.
Okay, so we're gonna do next Friday, right? For the third question.
Yeah. The same time. What time was it? 8 p.m.
Yeah. On Friday, right?
Okay, yeah, yeah, that should be fine. So is it
So
gonna be just us three and four? Like no one else is in?
okay, so there were like 7 people, like three of us. It's supposed to be Elizabeth, and then I have another 4 to 5 people ask me to join. Then I give them link question. Then they just cancel me last minute.
Oh,
They
they
did
didn't come.
yeah. So we will see next time. Maybe post in the the public chat to
Yeah.
see
Okay.
if one wanna join. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna end the call and zip the file to everybody.
Okay. All right.
Okay, bye. Good
All right,
job,
guys. Take care,
everyone.
Yeah,
guys.
good job,
Take care,
Bye.
Juan. I
everyone.
appreciate you.
Nah,
Yes,
well, we all did it, so it was a teamwork. Yeah.
bye.
All right. Take care.
And that, as they say, is that.